guys, Angela here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to another Sunday chat. It's February 1st. It's Sunday. And y'all getting a chat. I'm on my for the month of February, I promise. And this week I am doing a Q&A. I thought it was time. It's a new year. Time for a Q&A. I put a questions box on my Instagram and asked people to ask me questions that were not around like my career or like how I got to where I am in my career, or do I have any career advice, things like how do I establish my personal style, stuff like that, because I've already like answered those questions. So I wanted some new questions and the people came through. So I have a few that we're gonna get through. I have a cup of coffee because y'all, why did I go in? First of all, my neighbor's alarm is going off. If you hear it, I apologize because they let it go off for hours. Y'all know these new apartments, walls thin as wind. So if I can hear them, you could probably hear them. Anyway, also, I am, trying to get myself together to film this video. I get a notification that my rent payment didn't go through. Why? Because I go check my account. Somebody done wiped that biatch clean. They done cleaned it up. It's my checking account that I use for like paying my bills, miscellaneous, all this type of stuff. It doesn't typically have that much money in it anyway, unless it's the top of the month and it's time for like auto drafts to come out for the month. Chad wiped it clean. Rent said insufficient funds. So I had to like call my bank and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a cup of coffee. Even though it's February 1st, dry January is over, I'm gonna have me a glass of wine tonight while I'm cooking. But I was like, I need something to take an edge off, so I made a little cup of coffee, because girl, why would you take my money? So let's jump right into it so this isn't too long. Y'all know I'm long-winded, so it's probably gonna be long. Anyway, I have a few questions that are based around me moving, which I knew that was gonna come up. So I have one that asks, do I still plan on moving to DC this year? How am I prepping for my move? And then I had another one that's like, have you ever thought about living anywhere outside of the US? Which is technically not the same, but I thought I'd lump them all in together. I forget how algorithms work. It's one of my least favorite things about creating content on any of these platforms, is that even if somebody follows you, they may see one video and then they don't see any more videos of yours, and then when they finally see you again, they like, what happened to this, or what happened with that, right? And so I feel like I'm gonna be getting these questions about this move forever and ever, but it's fine, whatever. I put it out there, so I should expect that people are going to ask for like clarifications, because I'm still very much in Chicago, right? So if you're not new here or new to my channel, then you know that at the top of 2025, I announced that I was leaving Chicago. I was going to move to DC for a little bit, and then after DC, maybe a couple years in DC, I'll move to New York, and then make my way back to Chicago, maybe at like 48-ish, whatever. I had a whole plan. However, in every video that I've talked about as it relates to that move, I said the only caveat is I'm not able to find a job, something that's going to, like, I'm going to continue to be able to sustain the same lifestyle that I have. I'm ready to jump out a window and take a risk, but I'm a fool, but not a damn fool. So like, it has to make dollars and it has to make sense for me to move. And it just ultimately didn't work out career-wise for me to leave, meaning I didn't find no job, girl. Especially after the election and that fool took office and started firing folks. Indeed, the job market in DC just, for me at least, dry up, because I was looking at government adjacent or like nonprofit or public service jobs. A lot of them were like government contract jobs and stuff like that, because I am on the public service loan forgiveness program and I have to work in a position or organization that is considered public service, nonprofit, or whatever, in order to qualify. That has changed. Maybe I'll do another video. Well, it hasn't changed yet, but I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'll do another video, a whole tip, because I could talk about that ad nauseum. But anyway, it didn't work out simply because I couldn't find a job, and I wasn't going to give up my good job here to move somewhere on a whim. Like, I didn't want to move at the expense of my comfort and things like that. So it just didn't work out, and things don't work out. And that's why I feel like you have to give yourself space. You have to build in contingencies. I know that there are times like when you have dreams or you have the desire to do something, like it sounds really good, to be like, this plan has to work. There is no plan B. There's only plan A. I get that. I understand people's thought process. I don't operate that way. I'm always going to build a contingency into any plan that I make, just because I am risk averse by nature. It just is what it is, and I'm not trying to change that. But also, baby, I'm of a particular age. I can't be out here playing around. The 401k, the retirement, all that still needs to be getting contributions. I need health care every month. I'm a very sickly person, and I'm, like I said, I'm of a particular age, so it just didn't work out. I would love to still move, but I'm not making any like hard plans like I did last year. What I am doing is working towards other goals, like writing my book, starting my glassware brand, like beefing up my content, being more successful in that, getting brand deals that is going to afford me opportunities and money to move if I want to, right? A job won't even be a factor because I'll have the means, I'll have the ability to move if I so choose. So I still would very much love to do it. I'm just not making any concrete plans like I did before. Whatever happens will happen. And you know, I'm happy in Chicago. Like, I wasn't moving because I didn't like the circumstances. I was moving because I just was like, I want to do something new. I'm able-bodied, you know, whatever. Let's switch it up. But God said, not right now. Not right now. So that's what's up with moving to DC. As far as like living outside of the US, yes, I will move to London tomorrow. I have literally only spent 5 days, four days, full days in London, and the moment I stepped my foot in that city, I was like, I could live here. I love it. So absolutely 100% yes, I will move to London tomorrow. Let me meet an idiot and fall in love with an idiot, baby, and I'm up out of here with the quickness. So yes, London, hands down. That's the easy peasy answer. Being unbothered as the only single childless friend in a group. So I'm assuming you're asking like, how am I, or to talk about it. I have different friend groups. My friend group in Chicago, I am the only single and or person without a child in my friend group in Chicago. Now that's my like core friend group. I do have another friend group, or I have another friend, and she has a friend group, and so I am in community with them by proxy of her, but I really do like them. They're great girls, and a lot of them are single as well. My friend that I'm actually friends with, she is in a relationship, but she's child free. All of the girls in the group that I'm in, all of the girls in her friend group are child free, I think, except for one. But I say all of that to say, one, I have a few different friend groups, and I'm only the minority in that way in one of my friend groups. My college friend group, none of us have children and none of us are in a relationship. It's 3 of us. And then as far as like my childhood friends, I am the lone person without children. All of my friends have children from my childhood, like back home, except for me, but a lot of them are like single, some of them are married, whatever the case may be. I say all of that to say it pays to have diversity in friend groups, because what one friend group doesn't have in like capacity, time, whatever, because they are married, because they have children, my other friend groups do, right? And so I do, you know, the appropriate things, or the things that I have in common with the people in each group. But as far as my friend group here, where all of them are parents and 2 of them are married, I don't have to feel any ways about it, right? My friends do not make me feel uncomfortable about being child free or child free by choice when they are women who chose to have children. They wanted to be mothers. They don't make me feel any way about being a person that is not really like, you know, marriage isn't something that I aspire to, whereas marriage is something that most or all of them actually want to have. Like, I don't have like that issue where I feel like the lone person out in my group because I have a difference of desires. We just all make space for who we are individually, right? There's like no pressure or anything. So honestly, I don't have a question. I'm gonna answer for that, because in none of my friend groups do I feel like the choices that I made is an affront to the other people who made different choices in the friend group. Now, as far as the people online and stuff like that, child, but like within my community, it's not a problem for me. So I don't really have an answer for that, because it's not really an issue. However, the way that I deal with it as it relates to like online, and when I talk about dating and children and being child free, like child free by choice and, you know, marriage not being something that I really aspire to, it's not a requirement for me, I definitely get pushback. And I just say, girl, okay, like, you do you and I'm gonna do me. Because I typically find that people who find you not wanting to have children, or, you know, not marriage not being like a point of like achievement for you, right, they find it as an affront to them, because a lot of people feel like their way is the right way, and if other people are happy and healthy and living in abundance and all of that in a different way, then it means, and they are verbal about it, then you are discrediting the way that they have chose to believe and live and think. And it's not that. It's just like, girl, it's more than one way to skin a cat. Like, you do you, I'm gonna do me. So that's literally like, that's literally how I handle it. If it does not apply, let it fly. Sister, I didn't say anything was wrong with you aspiring to be married and have children and all of that. I think that's a beautiful thing. I'm not one of those people who's child free by choice because I don't like children. I love kids. I would actually be an excellent mom. I just don't want to be. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't know. The next one says, would love your POV on breakups and how you know when it's time to end things. Now, I haven't been in a relationship in a decade, so I am speaking from who I believe that I am. I have not been able to put this into practice because I have not been in a relationship. I just want to put, because it's easy to say what you wouldn't do when you know what I'm saying, when you're not actually in a thing. Now, there are certain things that I know for a Fendi fact that when I say never, I mean never, right? But there are, you know, certain circumstances when it comes to like communication breakdown and, you know, things like that, where you would like to think that you would react a certain way, but, you know, you never know until you get to put those things in practice. But I will say this, after my last relationship, which ended a decade ago, it would literally be in May of 2026, would be 10 years since that relationship ended, and I have not been in an actual committed relationship since then. I've dated around, you know, do a little bopping and, you know, around. You know, what I learned in sort of like healing and sort of defining what I would like to feel like in a relationship, how I would like to exist in a relationship with somebody. Because listen, I know I said I'm not, like, marriage isn't a goal of mine, but I still would love to be like in a relationship, committed to somebody and things like that. I just don't need no ring. Like, it is what it is. If I'm happy, I'm happy. For me, a lot of what I did as a younger girl in relationships, first of all, I was a serial monogamous person. I kept a man, I kept a boyfriend. I was monogamous in theory. That's a whole other video, girl, because I also kept me somebody on the side. Baby, listen, auntie's lore is maybe we'll get into that one day. Anyway. But I always had a boyfriend, right? And something that I did, especially as an adult, anything like between 18 and 22, I'm like, whatever, right? But 25, 23, I'm like, whatever, right? But in my serious adult relationships, I realized that I was always a person that once I got to the point where I was done, I am done. Like, there's no going back from that. But it took me too long to get there. And I've never been in a situation where someone has been like really verbally abusive to me or physically abusive to me or anything like that. But it's just little things that I would notice in relationships where I'm like, me and this person isn't compatible. Like, this isn't, you know, this is a right now thing. It's not going to. And honestly, listen, I'm all over the place. Honestly, at that age, I shouldn't even have been thinking about stuff like that. I am a true believer that, girl, when you in your 20s, especially your early to mid 20s, you shouldn't even be thinking about marriage and children and stuff like that. I know some people are going to disagree with that, but that's just me. In retrospect, I did it the right way, except for like I was in committed relationships and I wasn't, you know, kind of being truthful to the commitment. You know, I was out there having fun. I should have just been out there having fun without being tied to that commitment. Again, another video for another day. But what I realized is that I stayed in situations that I wasn't completely happy with, that weren't, you know, like fulfilling to me. Like, you know, something was very much missing because they were adding maybe monetary value or environmental value, like, you know, that person was providing me with places to, somewhere to stay, and I wouldn't pay no bills, or like making my life easier in that way. And I should have gotten out a long time before that. Now I'm very much of like the thought of like, if the moment something, I don't like something, the moment that something just don't sit right in my spirit, I'm like, actually, let's not even waste each other's time. Like, this ain't what it is. Like, let's just end this, right? So I am much more inclined now to like notice incompatibilities in me and somebody else and be like, you know what, this isn't what it is. Or I might meet somebody and really like them, but like notice there's incompatibilities, but I'm in a space where I'm okay with something casual, whether it's like physical, like we just, you know, having sex, or, you know, we're just casually dating, maybe we go on dates or whatever, but it's nothing serious. I've been able to like compartmentalize, like, I like this guy, I'm not doing anything else, I can spend time with this guy, but it's not going to go anywhere. And so that's sort of how I approach like dating and breakups. I don't allow myself to like date men for the sake of like having people around. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship like that bad, and I feel like that is what like women need to address. Like, I feel like women will hop in a relationship with somebody that they aren't compatible with, they don't necessarily like, but they make it work for the sake of like being in a relationship, because people are constantly in women's ear telling them that their type, like their expectations are too high, they want too much, da 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 da. So you enter into a relationship like half interested in the person that you're with anyway. And so for me, I don't allow myself to do that anymore. And when I do get in a relationship with somebody, at the first like instinct that like this ain't my person, this isn't going to work, if I am dating them for like, you know, relationship purposes. Now again, casual dating, just having sex with somebody, girl, whatever, right? But if I am dating someone with the intention of possibly being in a committed relationship with them, then it's very different. And like at the moment that I realize that this ain't it, I'm done. And when I'm done, I'm done. I've always been like that. It just used to take me a long time to get there. Now, like in the moment, I'm like, actually, no. Go about your business, right? And so hopefully that's helpful. I think that it starts at the beginning of meeting somebody. Like, stop just giving people chances for the sake of like, stop giving people chances. If this person does not have exactly what it is that you want, and that doesn't mean that they're perfect, but you know the things that are very important to you, that are non-negotiable, and things that, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. Those non-negotiables, and it's not like women are like compromising on things that aren't really that serious. Me, I love a tall man. I like, well, not too tall, because when they get too tall, it kind of freaks me out. But you know, I love a man that's taller than me. But am I going to like not talk to a man that's the same height as me because he's the same? No, like, if I'm attracted to him and he's funny, he's nice, then, you know, I can compromise. Like, I'm going to talk to that man. If you ask me my type, I'll say, girl, I love me a dark skinned man. Am I going to not talk to a man because he's light skinned? No. Right? So those are the type of things when I think, you know, girl, that shit don't matter as it relates to meeting somebody. That's what I think about. I find that a lot of women will, I don't want to date men with children, I don't have children. Do you date a man with a child? Because for whatever reason you didn't find an exception for that man, right? Or I want a certain man with a certain type of caliber, certain culture, certain education, and then you make an exception because, you know, people that got mad at Ebony K. Williams because she said she want to date the bus driver. Like, you know, those type of things are not compromising. You are completely abandoning yourself and the things that you want and need in a relationship just for a relationship. So start there. And also, and the girls hate when I say this one, the girls hate this piece of nitpick. Y'all, like, stop moving so fast. You don't have to meet somebody and be in a relationship with them in 3 months. You absolutely positively don't know enough about somebody in 90 days to say that I'm going to be committed, because once you move from that like dating to that committed like part of a relationship where it's just y'all are exclusive, it's just you and them, that is where you start like considering them. That's where you start building a life with them. Y'all start building routines together. Y'all start, you know, building habits around each other. And I just don't feel like I can personally assess somebody in 90 days. It is okay to date and have fun. exclusively dating is a thing. The girls like to discredit it, but like exclusively dating is a thing. Y'all gonna have a conversation. I'm only dating you, you're only dating me. Y'all can do that before you actually commit, right? And in that time, y'all are getting to know each other. You're likely, in my mind, I'm not like introducing you to my friends. We're not, you know, it's not that type of thing. You're not coming to the cookouts and stuff like that. We're just spending time with each other, exclusively getting to know each other. And then, you know, if that works well for us, and once we're in a committed relationship, that's when I'll start bringing you around my friends, maybe introduce you to my family and stuff like. But that's just me. So I think not abandoning what you want in a man, right? Not moving at the speed of light for the sake of being in a relationship. I think it'll avoid you getting to the point where you're constantly having to like break up with people. People be having so many breakups. I'm like, damn. So many breakups, so many relationships. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I went on a tangent, but hopefully with some nuggets in there somewhere. Planning for trips, especially solo ones. I am assuming that you're asking me if I have any plans for solo trips, or trips in general this year. I do. So I am going to New Orleans for my birthday, which is in March. That is a solo trip because New Orleans is my solo place. New Orleans is my favorite city, my favorite US city. I've only ever been to New Orleans on solo trips, and I kind of want to keep it that way. I kind of want to keep it like sacred. Like that is my place, that is my thing. I go to like relax, recharge, eat. Like I don't do a bunch much of anything, but it's just something about that place that is like my recharge center. So I'm doing that. I plan on going to Portugal in the summer. Of course, I'm gonna do Lisbon, and then I may try to make a couple other stops on that trip. It's usually like a 10-11 day trip, and so I try to like squeeze a couple other places or like 2 or more places into that 10 days. So I plan on doing that in the summer, and then I know for sure I want to spend the holidays in the Caribbean. I do not know where yet. Typically when I do my summer trips like out of the country, my best friend comes with me. She has become like my little like international travel partner, so I assume she will come with me on that, and she'll probably come with me to the Caribbean over the holiday too. That's my girl, that's my travel buddy. But New Orleans for sure is going to be a solo trip. What did you study in college, and how old were you when you graduated? So I have a bachelor's of science in speech communications and theater. Y'all didn't know that, did y'all? And then I have a master's of education in organizational leadership in communications, and communications. And I graduated undergrad at 23. I was 23. I started college in 2002, and I went to Lincoln University of Missouri from 2002 to 2004, and then fall semester of 2004 I transferred to, or was it fall semester of 2005? Fall semester of 2005 I transferred to to Tennessee State University, and then I graduated from Tennessee State University in spring of 2007. So I finished school in 5 years after having transferred, which, you know, transferring can really set you back, especially because at Lincoln I was a journalism major, a print journalism major, and at TSU I was a speech comms major. TSU didn't have like print journalism or journalism in general as a major at the time. You could just be a comms major, so I switched over. So some credits didn't transfer, and so I had to pick up some additional classes, but you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, I have a BS in speech comm and theater, and I have a master's of education in organizational leadership. The theater piece of my degree was attached on, so everybody that was a speech comms major was a speech comms and theater major, and you could go like theater, like acting, or you could go behind the scenes like production. I did production, I didn't do acting. Next question, when is the comedy tour and or your next stand-up? That's a little bit of Angela lore that not a lot of people know about me. I have done one stand-up comedy show. One, and I cannot find the video of that for nothing. Like, I feel like maybe if I go back in my archives on Instagram, I may be able to find clips of it, or maybe I gotta dig through Facebook. I don't know, but I did a 10-minute stand-up comedy set at the Promontory here in Chicago, rest in peace. It was actually, I took a like 8-week stand-up comedy course and it taught you how to like write jokes and all of that type of stuff. And then the final for the course was to do a 10-minute stand-up comedy set. I took it with my friend who works for the city, and both of us are learning and development professionals. We're corporate training professionals. And fun fact, a class like comedy writing would be really good for someone that is looking to be better at public speaking, or you know, works in corporate comms and needs to sort of like work on engaging the crowd and things like that. So her job put that on so that her and people in her department could work on like engaging audiences and things like that. And they had like a free space, and she literally asked her boss if I could come, and her boss was like, yeah. And so I went. So that's how I ended up in the class. And the 10-minute stand-up comedy set that I did was my final for the class. But I did really good. Like, it's really, I have to find it so y'all can see it. But I used to share it all the time, like snippets of it all the time on my social media, and this person has followed me like forever. We went to college together, actually. So I probably won't be doing that again, but hopefully I can find the old video and share it with y'all, because I did kind of eat that. I kind of ate that. Next up, what made you love small spaces? It's totally opposite of most people who want big homes. I'm a scaredy cat. Not gonna lie, I'm a scaredy cat. That used to be like the premise of it, is that I just have a lot of like fears that are like, you know, they weren't necessarily caused by anything other than like my imagination. So like dogs, a dog has never actually like bitten me, but the fact that dogs can bite people and they can hurt people, they can kill people, that's what drives the fear of dogs, right? Being in a big space is just like fearful. You hear noises, people can break in. Like, I have like this irrational fear that someone would break into a big space, and you know, I can't escape because you know, it's just too much space, like chasing me all around the place. Girl, it's ridiculous. And also, it's 5 of us. I've always lived in a house with a bunch of other people, and you know, living by myself, like the first time I ever lived by myself, I was 28, right? And that shit was scary. I was like, oh my God, this is so, I don't like this. I went from living at home with my family to living in a dorm room to living with my boyfriend to living with another boyfriend, and then finally living by myself. From living with my boyfriend to living with a roommate and then finally living by myself. When I finally lived, I was like, I don't like this. I am so scared. But eventually it just sort of became my thing, right? I think it's really fun to like decorate a small space, because you have to be really creative with the way that you store things, right? With the way that you display things, because that's just sort of the name of the game when you are living in a small spaces. There are a lot of things that are going to be on display. There's no such thing as like, you know, I want a completely clean counter, I don't want nothing like there's no such thing. There is going to be your perfumes, your like everything is going to be on display. It's really fun to like figure out how to do that without it looking like clutter and crazy in your apartment. So I just find decorating a small space, you know, coming up with like storage solutions and things like that enjoyable. I really like it. Also, being in a small space forces you like not to overconsume. Like, I simply cannot have more clothes than I need. I simply cannot have more shoes than I need. I simply cannot have more food, more spices, more anything than I need, because there is no space. So it has made me a very thoughtful consumer, like very, very thoughtful. See, well, this apartment is a little bigger than my last studio because it's technically a 1-bedroom, even though I say it's not a 1-bedroom because the bedroom don't have a door on it. Like, I can see out of the living room into the bedroom, but this is technically a 1-bedroom, so every room is separate. So like my front door is all the way down here, my bedroom is over here, so it's a little spooky, okay, but it's still small enough for me to feel like safe and secure, and like, you know, I can see everything that's going on. Can't nobody be hiding and lurking in the shadows in this apartment because it ain't big enough. I can see you. So those are just some of the reasons why I live a small space. And I could like get millions and millions of dollars. I don't foresee myself going to buy a big space. I'm never buying nothing with no upstairs, down, no basement, no none of that. I'm 100% gonna be a person that's one floor. See, what is that called? A single family home. Even if I do get a bunch of money, I would have like a little bungalow, a little something. I might buy like a condo or something like that. But I'm never going to buy no big ass house. Unless I like move my family in with me. Like that's the only way I would buy like a big house. It gotta be other people in the house with me, and that's not happening. So small house, condo, bungalow, something like that. How do you find your artwork? Beginner art tips when purchasing for a space. So for me, my #1 rule is black art, black artists. Now I do have a couple pieces in my house that aren't by black artists, but they are not I like portrait style art, right, where there's like depictions of like people or like bodies or whatever the case may be. And ain't nobody finna be up on my wall that's not black. #1 rule. So that's the first thing they look for. And I don't want black like depictions of black bodies that isn't by black people, right? So those are my number 2, my 1 and 2 rule. So I do have some abstract art in my bathroom that is not by black artists. It's by a woman. She's a white woman, but I bought it at a like art fair. But I was like, this piece is like a perfect bathroom piece because it's blue. It like reminds me of the ocean. So I bought that. And then I have another piece in my bathroom that I bought on my trip to Madrid from a street artist. It's of a body, but it isn't distinctly black or white or, you know, whatever. And so I thought that was also a great piece for the bathroom. And also I bought it in Spain, so like the artist was not going to be black. But mostly I prefer to purchase black art by black artists. So start there, right? Determine like what is going to be the ethos around the art that you collect. Like, what do you want the story to be? When people enter your home and they ask you questions, when they ask you why you buy this art, what does it mean to you, so on and so forth, what is the story that you want to tell people with the stuff that you have in your homes, right? In your home, on your wall. As far as like how I find artists, Instagram, going to museums, things like that is how I find artists that I love. Other artists, it's not a secret that Christina Martinez is my favorite. Like, she's my favorite. I have all of these pieces that are above my couch, and then I have a big piece in my bedroom, and then I have a piece on my TV stand. And I find artists through her. And then lastly, because I'm not an expert, but I also joined communities, like art spaces with people that have similar and same interests. And what it has done for me, I'm a part of a group called Early Work here. And what it has done for me, it's given me the language for the style of art that I like. And just, you know, about purchasing art and consuming art and just being in community and in rooms with artists and other people that like love art. So also immersing yourself in communities that also have like the same interest, that has more knowledge, to give you like language to help you kind of construct like your taste, your style, like those types of things. And then also last thing is I love art that is bold. I love art that is colorful. My furniture, like things like that, may be, you know, more like, I have like a neutral couch, neutral furniture, brown leather couch, brown table, brown TV stand, brown this, brown, you know, brown wood. So it gives very neutral. And so I like to put pops of colors in the accessory, the chairs, the pillows, the area rug, that type of stuff, and the art. The art is the pop of colors, which is why people like, you should paint your walls, you should paint. Yeah, I could. Like, if I owned this place, I would. But future Angela, who has to move out of this place, whenever she moves out of this place, would appreciate if I don't paint all the walls so that she doesn't have to repaint it. But to me, the walls doesn't bother me. Like, the white walls don't bother me because my art is so like it just pops. So that's also important to me. Hopefully that helped. Okay, the next question is, how do you build daily looks? Not for events, but just dilly-dallying and looking good. My everyday, like, just personal style, it's just a representation of my personality. It's chill, it's relaxed, you know, it's a little bit of like an elevated casual situation, right? which I think it mimics my personality like super well. Like I am pretty chill, pretty relaxed, pretty cool, pretty laid back, but I'm also goofy and funny. A little bit of like an elevated, laid back, casual type of person. It's just it's a reflection of my personality, but also it's a reflection of my environment. I live in Chicago. I take public transportation. I walk everywhere. I like, you know what I'm saying? So like, am I going to be in heels, dilly-dallying, all of it? No, I'm typically going to be in sneakers. Again, very relaxed, very casual clothing, but I also don't want to look basic. So, you know, I throw elements in there to like make it look more cool. Sunglasses, hats, you know, maybe the structure of it may be a crew neck sweater, but it may have balloon arms, or it may have like a cool structure. It may be like tapered in a way. Like it's going to have something to add some interest to what is otherwise a very like basic outfit. And so that's literally how I approach getting dressed on a day-to-day basis. Is, am I gonna feel comfortable in it? Does it make sense for the environment of whatever I'm doing? And then how do I add a little bit of oomph? What hat can I throw on? Sunglasses can I throw on? How interesting are the shoes? I think people are right when they say, you know, like an accessory makes an outfit, but an accessory doesn't have to be jewelry. And I think maybe think outside of that. I'm not a jewelry person at all, so when I think about accessorizing my outfit, I think about, like I said, hats, my sunglasses, the shoes that I'm wearing, which are typically like interesting, like that type of thing. I would consider my accessory, and that sort of is what my jacket, stuff like that, that's sort of what adds the I have another question about I would love to know how, as a 40-year-old, maybe in a video, how you spread your accounts or simple finance advice to the girls. Friend, I'm not the one. I'm not the one or the two to be asking on finance advice. Baby, I don't got none for you. I don't got none for you. I'll tell you this. I don't have no debts. I don't spend more than what I have. I pay them people their money back on them credit cards. I save for my retirement. I have a high yield savings account. Outside of that, girl, I don't be saving the way that I need to save. I am not prepared for retirement. I am not the person to. I'm just like you. I'm in a mad dash to catch myself up to where I need to be. As far as like how I break my account up, I know how much I'm paying in bills a month. So my paycheck, I have a checking account that my paycheck, my monthly bills, it goes all into that. I give myself an allowance, like, you know, let's say $500 miscellaneous, for example, a month. So my bill money plus that miscellaneous money goes into that checking account. Any additional miscellaneous money I have coming in, the creators fund on TikTok, the Google AdSense from YouTube, all of that goes into my checking account too, and I basically only spend from that account. So once the money is gone, once the bills are paid and the miscellaneous money is spent, I don't got no money. I ain't got no money. That's my finance tip. I ain't got no money. And to be honest, the high yield savings account ain't giving it ain't really giving nothing, because I used to rely on myself to like take the money and put it into that account, and it just wasn't working for me. So I had to switch to just like splitting it up, where the money I'm trying to save every week goes into that high yield savings account, but you have access to it. So like, girl, sometimes I be going in there and be like, oh, you know, I spent a little too much on my credit card, let me go stash out and pay. I am not the one or the two. I am not the one or the two to even ask that. So I'm not even finna play in your face. I'm not even about to play in your face like that. I just don't spend more money than I make. I don't spend more money than I make. And I mean, I don't spend more money than I make from the job that I clock in to. Like, I don't actually lock in, but you know what I mean. So that's my financial advice. I don't know how good that was. And then I have one more and we'll wrap it up, because I knew this was gonna be long. I knew it was gonna be long. Favorite pieces of media, maybe talk about your writing process for the book. So my favorite piece of media is YouTube Easy. That's where I spent most of my time on YouTube, watching like home decor, like architectural digest, My favorite channel is Never Too Small. Y'all know I love a small space, so Never Too Small is my favorite channel. Homeworthy, channels like that. I watch a lot of lifestyle, so I watch the girls, of course. Like, I love lifestyle videos. I love vlogs, so I still watch those. So YouTube is my like medium. I have YouTube Premium, so I watch a lot of movies and stuff on YouTube as well. And then Instagram, TikTok, like I'm addicted to TikTok like everybody else, right? I'm not even gonna hold you. I am a big reader, so I read a lot. So books, like, I don't know if that would be considered a form of media, but it is. I used to read, like, I used to subscribe to like the New York Times and stuff like that, so I can get like the cut. I canceled like all of those subscriptions. I would like to get back into like reading magazines more, but you know, I went to buy a magazine and it was $10. I said no, I'm not buying it. I was like, oh no, right? So I guess I could do like subscriptions, but I don't even know if I want to do that. $10 is fucking crazy. So YouTube is like my main like medium. And as far as like writing the book, girl, I just started writing the book. I literally just sat down and started writing the book, but now I'm to a point where I am actually going to where I'm going to buy a few different actual books about writing books and read those and sort of get some real like structure behind like my plan for writing this book. And then I'm going to go back and implement that structure. So I'll clean up what I already have and then implement the structure for writing the book moving forward. But ain't nothing to it but to do it, sister. I just jumped in it and started writing the book. But I do realize that, you know, having a real plan and structure and all that is going to be important. Outline all of those things, and I just don't have the knowledge of how to do those, you know, the appropriate way. So I have a list of books that I'm actually going to purchase. Once I finish the 2 fiction books that I'm reading, I'm actually going to sit fiction aside for a little bit, dive into those writing books, come up with a real plan, and then reapproach the book with a plan of action so I can actually meet my goal of having the manuscript done by the end of the year. So that's all I got on the book front, sister. That's all I got on the book front. But thank you for asking. I'm always like super happy when y'all are asking about the book, because that lets me know that it's still on your mind and it's coming, I promise. Anyway, that concludes the video. This is gonna be I thought I was gonna quickly edit this video. No, I'm gonna be editing this video for a couple hours. However, thank y'all so much for watching. Sorry for the alarm in the background. Like, I literally, before I paused this last couple questions, I went and yelled at the wall like, cut your fucking alarm off. I know you hear that alarm. I bet y'all ain't hearing that alarm, because I know you hear that alarm. Like, why is that alarm going off like that? Anyway, it's time to buy a mic. The only problem with this is I'm still using the Canon G7X Mark II, and it doesn't have a mic port. But I found a workaround for that. I just don't know what I did with the mic stuff. I'm gonna have to dig it out. But I'm gonna have to dig it out next time and like have it attached, because the background noise is not tea. The heater going, the alarm going, the train going, everything is going. But I appreciate y'all for being here. Thank y'all for your questions. Let me know if there are any additional questions about anything that I talked about that you would like to hear more on, and I'll make that happen. Other than that, I will talk to y'all in the next video. Bye.